All right, so this one is mine, and I'm starting this off. So, guys, I've got a quote right here. Don't let failure define the outcome. And this is something I look at again and again. I printed it off earlier this year because I was going through, and I'm still going through, a bit of a rough patch with the business in the sense of AI has been eating our lunch when it comes to our blog traffic, which was a very nice reoccurring every single month. This money would come in and it fed so many things that we did in our business. And this last year, all of a sudden, our traffic is plummeting. And I know this is happening throughout the blog world. We saw this coming, but man, when it happened fast. And all of a sudden, you've got this money that you should just go to our bottom line. But I keep telling myself, and I thought it, to be honest, I thought this was going to go on for a while. I didn't expect it to wrap up so quickly. And it's frustrating because we have written thousands of articles way before there was AI. You had to handwrite. I've been writing since 2007 online, creating blogs and creating content. And you see this information was fed, the AI engines ate it up, and now they're just spitting it out and yes, in some cases we do get credit. We do get some traffic, but it literally is a fraction, probably about 20% of what we were just getting 3 years ago. So I had this quote, I saw it, and I printed it out. Don't let failure define the outcome. Because the point here, and Aaron, I know you can attest to this, is in business, failure is going to happen. You just can't let it be the last roll of the dice, if that makes sense. You've got to find a way to pick yourself up and keep going. And anytime I love reading biographies of tons of the business titans, people throughout the last couple hundred years. They've grown businesses or start things, and you just hear this again and again of how many times they fell, how many times they failed. Sometimes it happens a bit later in life. They build themselves up, they fail, and what's crazy is it seems like they're able to roar right back. Doesn't always happen. I'm sure there are many that give up, but I think that for me has been something I've been just reminding myself to give up. That is failure. And as long as I've got some time here on this earth, as long as I have my health, and as long as I don't make a mistake that's fatal, I'm like, I'm just going to keep pushing through. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
I'm just gonna show you what I have inscribed. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, probably not. But back of my watch says "Get to work." I bought this watch from a gift for myself during one of these rough patches. It was a YouTube rough patch. Little did I know that rough patch wasn't even the tip of the YouTube rough patch spear. It was going to get much worse. But it's just a reminder of myself that you can figure it out, right? It's just about putting yourself in the right position at the right time and making sure that you keep your eyes open. If you would have told me 20 years ago that I would find success, happiness, and fulfillment making videos, I would have punched you in the nuts, because to me, that was not what success looked like. For me, from the early age of 12 years old, I knew exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and that was own a fitness center. And if you would have told me that anything other than that would have meant that I was successful or happy or healthy, I would have literally laughed at you, because that wasn't what success looked like. And when that failed to the magnitude at which it did, it basically freed me of a few things. It freed me of the fear of failure. Failure is part of the equation. It's got to happen, because without it, you're never going to realize your true potential without having adversity. And one of the big reasons why Antonio and I have called this and named this channel Failing to Freedom is because failure is such an incredible teacher. It's also a motivator. It's also just part of the process. And so when I failed, luckily I was in a position to realize, okay, let me try some new things. I don't know where this is going to lead. I don't know when this is going to turn around. I didn't know what success looked like at the time, but I kept trying different things and pulling things that interest me, the thread. And eventually I figured some things out. But it doesn't mean that once you figure some things out or you become successful, whatever that means to you, that's the end of the journey. it's part of the journey, but you are going to still have issues. For me, this has been one of the hardest years financially for my business, Pete and Pedro. In terms of the numbers, we're down, sales are down 3%, but profits down 14%. What does that mean? It means I'm doing about the same amount of business, but my sales or my profit that I'm putting in my pocket is much lower. The other issue is feeling like I failed. One of the metrics to, I think, business and entrepreneurship is always trying to be improving your financial situation. And this year is one of the worst financial situations that I've ever been in. It doesn't mean it's all doom and gloom. And I think, Antonio, you're in the same or similar position. Things just look very different than they did 5 years ago. It was, us going out, buying watches and treating each other to suits and stuff like that because things looked very different. But It's okay. It doesn't mean that we are failing or that we have failed. It just means, all right, next iteration of figuring the shit out.
There was a story I heard the other day. Apparently it originates with Alex Hormozi, and I don't know where he got it. Usually he's got his stories he takes from someplace, but it talked about imagine if you're at a game and there's two dice, and one dice, it's got 10 sides, one green side, 9 reds. The other one has 50 sides, one green side, 49 reds. You don't know which dice you're given, but every time you roll it, if it pops up red, that's a failure. Business failed. If it pops up green, that's a business success. And what's interesting is when you get a green, magically, one other side that was red now becomes green. So you look at the way this game plays out. You've got two people. We don't know which dice they're given, but one guy rolls 3 reds in a row. The other guy, he looks over, rolled green on the first time, and boom, got his win. And then the other guy, is getting a little bit frustrated because he's got those 3 reds. The next guy rolls a red, but then he rolls a green again. And so this guy is now 2 out of 3 over here. The other guy is 0 out of 3. And instead of rolling the dice a 4th time, he says, just F this, and he quits. Well, when we look at the dice, we realize actually the guy that quit had the better die. It just so happened that the guy he was comparing himself with got really fortunate, really lucky with that first roll, and also statistically got lucky with that 3rd roll, and was probably had a whole bunch of reds that were going to come, but they approached it differently. And the guy that kept, he did actually get a whole bunch of reds, but he just kept rolling. He never stopped rolling. In fact, he rolled that dice like 40 or 50 times over his lifetime and had quite a few successes. And that's what I love about, the game that we're playing here, is that it's also not like there isn't a truncated outcome, which, means that there isn't a limit in what you can win. Because we both know people that have failed multiple times, but when they do get a win, they get enough that they never have to work again. Or it puts them in a position where they could actually retire on this very, very, have a healthy, just put some money aside, and then they can keep playing the game that's money on the house. And that's what I love about this game is that, I look at it, I don't want to make a fatal mistake. I don't want to knock myself out of the game and bet the whole house. That's just, way too risky. But and it gets me excited. You talked about earlier this year, I have to admit my outlook was starting to become a bit pessimistic. I've got my family from Ukraine that's been living with me 3 years. That's put a big toll on the war and everything going over there. And I realized once we moved into our new house and there was a little bit of separation between some of the family, and I was able to have our space again as a family, I realized, oh man, this just putting yourself in a good environment, getting out to Atlanta, spending time with you, having, us just hanging out in the hot tub, talking about what we are grateful for, but putting yourself into that positive attitude and realizing, okay, let's roll the dice a few more times. And that's why we started this channel. It's like, is it going to fail? I don't know. Is it going to win? Is it going to succeed? Hopefully. But it's that hope and the belief that we get another roll that keeps me going.
And I get excited. I mean, the thought of this channel, the thought of you and I trying to do something that is starting from zero to some degree. I mean, even though like you and I bring a tremendous amount of experience and, business acumen and YouTube legacy, this is new. It's a different format. It's a different idea. We don't know if anybody is going to basically be interested in subscribing. We hope you are. So right now would be the time for you to hit that button, subscribe, turn those notification bells on. But I find that it's liberating when you're starting from scratch, when you've already failed, or when you're having something that didn't work out. Just being willing to try again, get back up. There's nothing more exciting to me, which is just opportunity. And the fact that we don't know the outcome, I think that's a beautiful thing. But you do need to understand failing is part of the process. The other thing you had mentioned, Antonio, is comparing yourself to other people. You mentioned something about other people and looking at other people, and we know other people. But one of the things that has always gotten me in trouble is comparing myself to other people, right? Whether or not it's, what they have or their business. And the other thing that you just need to understand is what they choose to show you or what you see on the surface doesn't necessarily indicate that they are happier than you, that they're healthier than you, that they have it all figured out. It's a dangerous trap when we start comparing ourselves to other people because it makes us feel inferior. It makes us feel like we have failed or we haven't accomplished that thing that we thought that we should. And so I would just say, try to limit that. I know it's impossible. I mean, it's kind of like, hey, don't let bad, mean comments affect you on YouTube. I've been doing this since 2008, and I still haven't developed skin thick enough that, allows me to basically block out, all the noise. But yeah, just try not to compare yourself to other people and realize that this is your journey. We're all on our own journey. It's going to happen if you make it happen. Nobody's going to hand it to you. You are not a victim. You can achieve, you can accomplish, but it takes you getting off your ass and making it happen. And that is why I carved or engraved on the back of my watch, get to work. I know that I'm smart enough. I know that I'm a hard enough worker, and I know that I can figure this out if I just get to work and don't sit there and wait for it to happen.
I was just thinking about what you said. No, I 100%, don't let failure define the outcome. Believe in yourself and find that path. And yeah, that was good. Short but sweet.
Ladies,
right,
gentlemen, we'll see you in the next video. Go ahead. You finish this one up.
I know this one's mine, right? Yeah. Failing to Freedom, guys. We'd love to have you join us here and look forward to seeing you in the next episode.